Hi, this is Mr. Judd, and this is Avalanche Pass. It's a really neat spot in the high peaks of the Adirondacks where an avalanche took out the entire side of a mountain and displaced and laid all of the vegetation down at the bottom. In ecological terms, we call this a disturbance. A disturbance is anything that disrupts an ecosystem. The topic of today is ecological succession, which is a term that means an ecosystem grows back or comes back after a disturbance. An avalanche isn't the only type of disturbance. There are lots of others like tornado, flood, hurricane, forest fire, and lots of others you could think of. This is a really neat picture that was taken right after a forest fire. You can see the charred trunks of the trees that still remained. And the photographer came back over a number of years to see what would happen. So here's year 2, here's year 3, here's year 4. And you can see that the ecosystem is starting to recover. Plants are coming back. That is ecological succession. The first type I want to talk about is secondary succession. In this example, we are starting with a mature forest. It gets burned and everything is destroyed. Nothing is left but soil after the disturbance. In step 5, you can see some grasses and some weeds starting to grow back. Then in step 6, some bushes and some evergreen trees start to arrive. They get bigger in step 7. And then in step 8, we're back to our original state. And that original state is called a climax community. A climax community is any group of species that can live in an area and be self-sustaining over a long period of time. So here in New York State, our climax community is mostly beech and maple trees. And in other parts of the world where they have different climate, it's a different set of organisms that make up the climax community. Primary succession is actually a more difficult type of succession. This is a picture I took in Iceland, and this back here is a glacier. And over time, it has receded and melted, and in its wake has left just nothing but rock, barren rock. It's a very difficult place for any organism to grow. The ones that can are pretty neat, like this one. This green crust is actually a living thing. It's called lichen, and it's a combination of a fungus and an algae, and it can grow directly on bare rock. Some other things that can grow directly on bare rock are the mosses. These organisms are considered pioneers, or pioneer organisms. They are the first organisms that can start ecological succession on bare rock. This will eventually form soil, and then regular succession will proceed until a climax community is eventually established. The difference here is that primary starts on rock and secondary starts on soil. The last type of succession I want to talk about is pond succession. And we're going to start off with an open pond. In this situation, the erosion of soil will lay sediment down at the bottom of the pond. And over time, that pond will start to fill in with greater and greater amounts of sediment. And you can see that the community around the pond is also changing. In this example, they've got it almost filled, and at the end, it's completely filled in. And you have, once again, a climax community that includes full-grown trees and no pond where once a pond did exist. So that's ecological succession, and I hope that was helpful.